In today's video, we're diving into a deeply emotional and often challenging topic: caring for elderly parents. Is it an obligation, something we're morally bound to do, or a choice that we make based on personal circumstances? Let's explore this by looking at both sides of the question and hearing from real-life examples. The obligation side. For many, caring for their aging parents feels like a natural obligation. In many cultures, this responsibility is deeply rooted in tradition and family values. It's seen as a way to give back for all the years of sacrifice and care that parents have provided. But is it always fair to view it as an obligation? Let's consider the story of Maria. She's a 45-year-old single mother who works full-time. After her mother suffered a stroke, Maria moved her into her home to provide care. Maria feels a deep sense of duty to her mother, who raised her alone after her father passed away. "She gave me everything," Maria says, "so now it's my turn to be there for her." But as much as Maria loves her mother, she admits it's exhausting. "Some days I feel like I'm drowning. I don't have time for myself or my children. But I can't imagine putting her in a nursing home. It feels like I would be betraying her." Maria's story reflects the powerful sense of obligation many feel, even when caregiving comes with significant personal sacrifices. The choice side. On the flip side, some believe that caring for elderly parents should be more of a choice than an obligation, especially when the relationship between parent and child is complicated, or when caregiving duties become too overwhelming to handle without professional help. Take the example of David, a 50-year-old man who had a strained relationship with his father growing up. When his father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, David was faced with a tough decision. "I struggled with the idea of being responsible for someone who was never really there for me," he says. "In the end, I decided to hire a professional caregiver and visit him regularly. I chose not to be his primary caregiver because it would have been too emotionally draining for me. I had to prioritize my own mental health and the well-being of my family." David's story shows that choosing not to be a caregiver doesn't always come from a place of selfishness, but rather from a need for balance and emotional self-preservation. Combining duty with choice. Sometimes, caregiving for elderly parents can be a mix of both obligation and choice, where people feel a sense of duty but also try to find balance in their lives. Let's look at Sarah's story. Sarah is 52 and has 2 siblings, but she's the one who lives closest to their aging father. She felt an obligation to step in when his health began to decline, but she also knew she couldn't handle it alone. "I wanted to care for him because he's my dad, and I love him. But I also knew that I couldn't give up my career and my life entirely," Sarah explains. She talked with her siblings, and together they decided on a shared caregiving plan. While Sarah takes on most of the day-to-day responsibilities, her siblings contribute financially and help on weekends. Additionally, they hired a part-time nurse to assist with medical tasks. "I don't feel like I'm abandoning my father, but I also don't feel like I'm sacrificing my entire life. It's a compromise," Sarah says. Sarah's story shows that caregiving doesn't always have to be black and white. It's possible to fulfill a sense of duty while making choices that protect your own well-being. By sharing responsibilities with others and seeking professional help, Sarah found a middle ground that works for both her and her family. So is caring for elderly parents an obligation or a choice? There's no right or wrong answer. It depends on individual circumstances, relationships, and emotional capacities. What's important is that you don't feel guilty for setting boundaries or making decisions that prioritize your own well-being, while still ensuring your parents receive the care they need. In the end, whether it's an obligation or a choice, caregiving is an intensely personal journey that requires understanding, empathy, and sometimes difficult decisions. What do you think? Is it more of an obligation, or should it always be a choice? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking discussions like this one.